Born in Solihull, which was then in Warwickshire, John Taylor grew up in nearby Hollywood, Worcestershire, England. As a child, he attended Our Lady of the Wayside Catholic School and the Abbey High School in Redditch, enjoyed James Bond movies, and was interested in the hobby of wargaming with hand-painted model soldiers. In his early teen years, he discovered music, choosing Roxy Music as his favorite band, and before long was collecting records and teaching himself to play the piano. His first band was called Shock Treatment. In 1978, Taylor and school friend Nick Rhodes formed Duran Duran with Stephen Duffy while attending the School of Foundation Studies and Experimental Workshop at Birmingham Polytechnic. Soon after, Taylor underwent an ugly duckling transformation, ditching the glasses for contact lenses, adopting the ruffles and sashes of the fashion that would become known as the New Romantic style, and learning to wear eyeliner and lipstick. He stopped using the name Nigel, and has been known throughout his professional career as John Taylor. Taylor played guitar when Duran Duran was founded, but switched to bass guitar after discovering the funky rhythms of Chic, and learned to enjoy playing in the rhythm section with Duran's newly recruited drummer Roger Taylor. He has frequently cited Chic's Bernard Edwards and The Clash's Paul Simonon as his strongest influences, in addition to Paul McCartney, James Jamerson, and Roxy music players Graham Simpson and John Porter. Duran Duran released their first album in 1981 and went on to worldwide success in the early 1980s. In 1985, after recording the theme song to the Bond movie A View to a Kill, Duran Duran split into two side projects. John Taylor and guitarist Andy Taylor joined forces with former Chic drummer Tony Thompson and Robert Palmer, who earlier met at Duran Duran's charity concert at Villa Park 1983, to form the band The Power Station. With the guidance of producer Bernard Edwards, they released one album, The Power Station, which produced the hit singles Some Like It Hot and the T-Rex cover song Bang a Gong. That year, Taylor also launched his first solo effort, recording the single I Do What I Do for the soundtrack to the movie 9½ Weeks starring Kim Basinger. He also wrote some instrumental music for the movie's score with collaborator Jonathan Elias. When Andy and Roger Taylor left the band, the three remaining members reformed Duran Duran for the 1986 Notorious album and continued to record and tour throughout the 1990s with new guitarist Warren Cucurullo. On the 24th of December 1991, Taylor married Amanda de Cadenet, who was already pregnant with his daughter, Atlanta. He moved from England to Los Angeles to help further his wife's acting career, as well as to escape constant attention from the British tabloids. Taylor's marriage declined even as Duran Duran's star rose with the success of 1993 Duran Duran, also known as the Wedding Album. He and de Cadenet separated in May 1995. In January 1997, Taylor announced at a Duran Duran fan convention that he was leaving the band. During 1997 and 1998, Taylor built and toured with a band called John Taylor Terroristin, which played numerous shows in Southern California before touring the east and west coasts of the United States. Terroristin released a live EP and the accompanying video Better Off Alive through the Trust the Process website. After 9/11, Taylor said he would never use the band name Terroristin again. Taylor also began making forays into acting. His long friendship with Allison Anders led to a starring role in her independent film Sugartown in 1998. He also appeared in small roles in several other movies and TV programs over the next couple of years. In 1999, Taylor released two albums of earlier material. The first, Resume, was made up of unreleased music that he and Jonathan Elias had worked on together during the 1985 sessions for the 9½ Weeks movie soundtrack. The second, Meltdown, was a collection of tracks Taylor had laid down in 1992 during the extensive delays in Duran Duran's recording of the Wedding Album. Later in 1999, Taylor signed a recording contract with the Japanese record label Avex Trax and released an album labeled simply John Taylor on the cover, but listed in his official discography as the Japan album. He continued recording for Avex in 2000, and early in 2001 released Techno for Two, a decidedly non-techno album filled with very personal songs. Shortly after, as talks began for a potential Duran Duran reunion, Taylor decided to create a retrospective package called Retreat into Art, demonstrating his development over the previous 5 years. In 2000, Taylor was approached at his home in Los Angeles by singer Simon Le Bon about a possible reunion with the original Duran Duran lineup, and he was enthusiastic about the idea, as long as the other Taylors were willing to rejoin as well. An agreement was soon reached, and Taylor demonstrated his renewed commitment to the band by getting an enormous Link D's tattoo on the upper side of his right arm. After a highly successful tour of Japan in 2003, the reunited band was signed with Epic Records and released the album Astronaut in October 2004. They toured throughout the first half of 2005 before returning to the studio to work on their next new album. Guitarist Andy Taylor left the band again in October 2006, and recordings from this session were set aside when the band got a chance to work with famed producer Timbaland. The resulting album Red Carpet Massacre was released in November 2007. To celebrate its release, the band took the unprecedented step of performing the album in its entirety for 10 special performances on Broadway in New York City, with a world tour in 2008. In December 2010, the band released its 13th studio album, All You Need Is Now, on its own record label Tate Modern. Initially, an abbreviated version was offered to iTunes, but the physical album arrived in shops in March 2011.